Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show is brought to you by DKI Canada. Across the street, across the country. 3 times he has been named top analyst in the country in any sport. Jack Armstrong joins us to talk some Raptors basketball and his story. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show. Coming up! Our guest today hails from Brooklyn, New York. He is a graduate of Fordham University, where he has a master's degree in communications. Former head coach at Niagara University for 9 seasons, a former New York State Division I Coach of the Year. He hosted The Game Plan on the Fan 590, Raptors analyst since 1998 for TSN and NBA TV, a 3-time winner of the Canadian Screen Award as Canada's best sports analyst. He created the catchphrases, "Hello, get that garbage out of here." Ladies and gentlemen, the coach, Jack Armstrong. Jack, great to have you in the show.
Joe, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's awesome. It's good to see you. I know you're up early for this.
Great to see you.
Yeah.
Well, I got a game tonight. A game tonight, so just getting ready for that. Raptors, Portland Blazers tonight, so getting ready for that. So all excited about that.
Yeah. The Raptors, we're going to get into this more, but they have shown some signs lately. Obviously, it was a pretty slow start, but that may be partly by design. But we like to start at the beginning in the show, Jack, and we want to talk a little bit about your upbringing. I know you're born and raised in Brooklyn by your mother. Tell us about the early life of Jack Armstrong.
Well, I guess the best way I could put it is I'm blessed. I'm the youngest of 4 boys. My parents were immigrants to the United States from Ireland. And when I was 7 years old, I'm the youngest of 4, and my dad died of a heart attack. So my mom raised us on her own, and she's our hero. She did an amazing job raising us and giving us the opportunities that we have in life. And I wouldn't trade my childhood or my life growing up in Brooklyn for anything. And you learn a lot growing up in the city. And, it was a great life to have and challenges along the way. But again, nonetheless, I think it's really helped shape me and shape my 3 brothers and put us on the path that we've been fortunate enough to be on.
Well, we don't know your brothers, but we know Jack, and your mother did a fine job of raising her youngest. So great job there for sure. So, okay, so what led you into the sport of basketball?
To me, I just fell in love with it. I think if you grew up in New York City, everybody talks basketball and baseball. I mean, it's very passionate. Are you, baseball, obviously, are you a Yankee fan or a Met fan? And basketball is just part of the culture. Everywhere you go, every schoolyard, people are playing basketball. So for me, I was probably 7 years old at the time, and just started playing and fell in love with it, and would dribble the ball right-handed to the schoolyard, dribble home left-handed, 8 blocks, the 8 blocks it took for me to get to my local schoolyard. So I loved it, and all my friends loved it and enjoyed it, and I love baseball too. I mean, my whole life. It's funny, I was at the Blue Jays afternoon game yesterday, so I had a day in between games here in Toronto. So I still have a great love affair with baseball. So, it's just part of your life and part of your being. That's what everyone talks about. You grow up playing stickball and all the different things. You play roller skates, you play hockey on the street. I mean, it's just, you play 2-hand touch football, and it's just your whole life is sports. And I always say to people, I can't thank that Orange Bowl enough. I had a love, my love affair with that started when I was 7, and here I am 55 years later at 62, and everything I have in my life, a big part of what's transpired has been because I had that love affair with the ball, and it's taken me to places and given me opportunities that in my wildest dreams I never thought I'd be able to realize.
It's amazing how that the places that big orange ball can take you, and took you into coaching. What was it that steered you into coaching, and why did you choose that as a
Well, I
career?
wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough as a player, so I still love the game. So you reach a point where I was always that guy in the huddle that was very chatty and talkative, and kind of knew the, I was kind of a student of the game. I grew up playing against a guy named Chris Mullin, who was in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And early on in life, you figure out he's really good and I'm not. So you say, you know, he's got a chance and probably I don't. So you kind of look in the mirror and you give yourself a reality check and you say, okay, but I still love the game. And so I was just always one of those guys that, was kind of in the middle of it all and loved it. And uh, so I started coaching at a very young age. I went back and coached at my high school, Nazareth High School in Brooklyn. Then I was an assistant coach at Fordham University for 4 years, my alma mater. And then I was an assistant at Niagara for a year. And then I was the head coach at Niagara for 9. So 14 years as an NCAA Division I coach and 9 of those as a head coach. It was a great experience for me. And, I was a Division I head coach at 26. A lot of times you chat with young people and, hey, they're just starting out in their career, and they're 27, 28, 29. And I go, geez, I was already in my third year as a head coach by then. And, and meanwhile, all the other people I'm coaching against are 10, 20, 30 years older than me. So you get thrown into the deep end early in your career. But nonetheless, I also felt like I took a lot of steps way before anyone else did on my journey and prepared myself for it and really immersed myself in it and did dive into the deep end. And I would encourage anyone who wants to get into any profession that the best way to get into it is dive head first into it, and you're going to make your share of mistakes, but you're going to get knocked around and you're going to learn a lot of things and it's going to help you grow. And if you have an open mind for learning and mentorship and ask a lot of questions and you're, um, curious, you have that intellectual curiosity, good things happen.
Well, that's right. I mean, facing those fears that you might have of, hey, am I good enough to do this? Am I old enough to do this? I guess for you in your case, 14 years ago at the college level, and most 10 of them at Niagara University, as you mentioned, you had some success with the Purple Eagles. You had a 23-7 record one season. You won Coach of the Year honors. What were some of the highlights for you at Niagara?
Yeah, that would be the biggest highlight, that year, obviously, when we went to the postseason NIT and won a number of Coach of the Year awards and all that. That was great. But it had everything to do with obviously the guys I had the opportunity to coach. So, but every year was a highlight, quite frankly. I'm very proud of the fact that both at Fordham and at Niagara, the guys that went through our programs, they all graduated, so I feel like we did it right. There was a balance between trying your best athletically to win, and that's what you're in the business for. And unfortunately, I didn't win enough. And win in terms of the game of life, and that is getting your degree and growing and maturing and helping guys on that pathway of life. And having been being part of that, that's something I'm proud of. I mean, I think what I see today in sports is it's become very transactional. And to me, when I look back on why I got in it, you get in because you want to be transformational. You want to have an impact. You want to make a difference. Yeah, the competition, the love of competition, the desire to win, the absolute hatred of losing, just the sheer excitement of it and the agony of it as well. All those things. But nonetheless, you get in it because it's the people business, and you love people, and you love helping people, and you love making a difference. And I look at it now, and it's become incredibly transactional. And to me, I'm glad I'm on the back nine, and I'm not sure if I would jump in and do the same thing I did a long, long, long time ago in today's environment. I don't know. Maybe I would. But I'm glad I don't have to make that decision anymore. But I'm glad when the time came for me to jump in, it was a great, great time to jump in, and I have no regrets.
Yeah, and I just look at what happened in your career. Things seem to work out okay. I mean, but, we all know that coaches are hired to be fired, of course. And after a 14-13 campaign in 97, 98, you got your walking papers at Niagara. And here's what you had to say at the time. Let's listen to that, Vic.
Say Niagara and Canisius are the two toughest jobs in the league. I don't think you'll find another coach in our league. I don't think the coach at Fairfield or Loyola or Iona or Manhattan would ever in their wildest dreams trade their job for Mike McDonald's or mine. They would not do that. They would be out of their mind if they did that. These are tougher jobs than theirs because we are not in an area where there is a great amount of talent. And I think our location hurts us, and I think particularly here at Niagara, the condition of our facilities is a tough situation. And I think it's difficult at schools like this to maintain that consistency.
It is a very, very challenging job. And I would say right now, if you were to go around and ask all the other head coaches in the MAC conference, there's not one that would trade places with the head guy at Niagara because I think, you start with facilities and you go from there with what they lack compared to the other schools in the MAC conference. So it's a very difficult and challenging situation to find yourself in as a head coach.
Do you remember that time? Of course, I guess you would not forget it. Yeah.
No, I don't forget it, and I don't regret saying that. And the reason, in some way, I said it was because they were hiring a good friend of mine, Joe Mahalik, to replace me, and I wanted to make sure that I fired that shot over the bow to help him, to make the job a little better for him than maybe it was for me, and to make the job maybe better for whoever replaced Joe and the coaches that came after him. And I know all of them, and I consider all of them my friends. And there aren't a lot of bad coaches out there, but there are a lot of situations that maybe some are better than others in terms of commitment. And I felt really good about the Niagara job actually, and I said it at the time. You mentioned I got let go when I was 14-13. That is a winning record, but not enough, which I totally understand. And I felt really good when I left that we had turned the corner again and things were headed in the right direction. But at some point you run out of time. But I feel really good about the foundation that was laid. And if you look at the records a few years after I left, they were all winning records. And a lot of that was the players that were currently there. And Joe did an amazing job with those guys, and I'm very proud of those guys. And Joe did an amazing job, and Joe did an amazing job building an incredible program. So I'm so happy for the success he had and others since. And I loved my 10 years at Niagara. It was a great place. The people were absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad that. I had that experience in my life. My wife was the women's soccer coach and women's basketball assistant. That's how we met. I wouldn't have met my wife. I got married in the university chapel by my boss, which was really incredible. And the same people that married me fired me. But they still are great. Were great friends. And you understand. I go back earlier to the transactional nature of it. I respect and understand that too. And it's their school and they have every right to do what they do. And I just look back and I have nothing but gratitude and respect and appreciation for everything I had.
Yeah, you mentioned you met your wife Dena there. Obviously, there was a lot of good came out of that as well. And we talked about. Well, I want to talk about your family a little bit. We have some video from NBA TV a few years back, and that was you were with your kids, Kevin, Brian, and Tim, and you were with Timmy and Brian on your way to see Kevin play some hockey. Tell us about your kids. That we're gonna right here we go. Tell us about your kids and your family.
Yeah, and that's funny because I was actually at Niagara University, so that's where I used to coach, and going to the hockey rink to watch them play. And yeah, my wife and I adopted three boys, and we're blessed. And people say, "Oh, what a nice thing you and your wife did adopting three boys." And no, it's the other way around. They've made our life complete. We're so blessed and so fortunate to have them in our life. We've gone from being a couple to being a family, and they've made our life complete. And we're so blessed and so fortunate to have them. So it's been an incredible experience. And anyone out there who's a parent, you know that it's there are very rewarding times. There are very challenging times. It's twists and turns and ups and downs along that roller coaster of life. But nonetheless, no regrets, and it's pretty amazing.
So when you're let go at Niagara University, that job comes to an end. Did you pursue some other coaching opportunities before you turned to broadcasting, or was it a straight leap right into the broadcast business?
Well, I had a year left on my contract at Niagara, so I did have the benefit of a little bit of a cushion there, which really helped. And I was honestly burnt out. I needed some time away from it. I was mentally just fried, like literally emotionally, mentally just burnt out. And I needed to get away from it for a year. So I said, well, you know what? Maybe I'll give broadcasting a try. So literally at that time, the Raptors had an opportunity they had an opening for a radio analyst. So I interviewed, and they ended up hiring Chuck Swirsky and I on the same day. And now I just saw Chuck the other day in Chicago. I mean, Chuck and I did 10 years together with the Raptors, and now he's with the Chicago Bulls the last 17 years. And I've been with the Raptors for 27 years. So I never in a million years ever thought that I'd be a broadcaster for 27 years. I did a lot of college basketball. At the same time I got hired by the Raptors, I got hired by a number of college TV networks to do basketball in the United States. So it went from 0 to 60 overnight. And my first year with the Raptors, we had the lockout season. So we ended up playing 50 games in 90 days. But nonetheless, I was doing a lot of college basketball games. So after that first year, I was like, wow, this is a lot of fun. I love this. And all my friends are like, what, are you crazy? You've already been a Division I head coach. You've been to the top of the mountain. You've already done that. Give this a chance. See where this goes a little bit. And so I gave it another year. And there were opportunities to go back into coaching the first few years. And I'm glad I had people in my life, former coaches and current coaches, that kind of persuaded me and talked logic and made sense to me that, it's about quality of life, and it's about balance, and it's about your family too. Because we have a term in coaching that I learned a long time ago, acknowledge neglect, that, hey, I have to be on the road recruiting today, but I'm missing my son's baseball game, or you're missing your daughter's dance recital, or whatever the case may be, or you're not there for their birthdays. Literally the day we adopted my oldest son, I was there for the adoption and bang on a plane within a few hours to go coach a game, And but that was the expectation back then. Now you look at it in pro sports, a player will take a few days off to spend time with their wife and child, which I think is great. Back then, it was a different world. The job, you better be there. we'll find somebody else. So it's all worked out great. I can't tell you how happy I am and how lucky I am. And it was funny. A year ago, I was honored by Niagara University. My wife and I were honored. And I got up there and I said, I want to say thank you for firing me because and they actually honored me in Toronto. And so here I am. I'm being honored in Toronto by the school that fired me, and I wouldn't have this opportunity without that happening. And I always say, and a former coach said to me when I got let go, he goes, Jack, you have a choice. You could either be bitter or better. Your move. So I've always chose to be better. I've always chosen to take the high road and give it my best shot. And I'm so lucky that the opportunity came in Toronto, and I've tried to do the best I can to make the best of it.
Right. And you know what, Jack, Raptors fans are happy that Niagara fired you as well, because we get to have you here for all these years. So we're all grateful. But I want to tell us about your coaching experience and how that was beneficial for your broadcasting career.
Oh, I think it's immense. I look back on my career, my favorite broadcasters in terms of analysts overwhelmingly are coaches. I would say in basketball, UB Brown, Dick Vitale, Bill Raftery, Al McGuire. I think they would be the four basketball guys that have probably shaped me the most as an analyst. And then I would say the other two people who've shaped me as an analyst would be John Madden. He was just incredible when he got out of coaching and got into broadcasting. His ability to teach and yet do it in a way that was very fun was off the charts. And I would say the other one is I'm a huge baseball fan, and I grew up with Phil Rizzuto calling the New York Yankee games. Now, he wasn't a coach, but he was a great player for the Yankees as a shortstop on many championships teams, American League MVP. And he was so fun. Honestly, I grew up watching the Yankees when they were bad. In the late 60s, early 70s, they weren't very good. And Phil Rizzuto made watching Yankee baseball so entertaining and so fun. And so I think I've tried to take who I am as an analyst from those six guys. And kind of that's who I am. But I am who I am. I'm not any of them. I'm me. But I do think that coaches, ex-coaches are, in my opinion, for me personally, other people might not see it this way. I think they're great teachers. I think they're able to break a game down in game live. And honestly, it's a totally different attribute to be a studio analyst versus an in-game live analyst. It's totally different. And it's a different skill set. If I'm sitting in studio, and I do that too, I mean, like I have the NCAA tournament coming up, the Final Four and the championship this weekend for TSN. That's different. It's easier, quite frankly, because you now have the benefit of watching, kind of evaluating it, and then telling your people in the control room or in the truck, hey, I want these replays. So you have time to plan it all out, what your presentation is going to be. Whereas when the red light goes on and you're doing a live game, it's in the moment. So and I think that's why coaches are so good at that, because that's part of your job, is being able to decipher things rapidly. This isn't chess. This is turbo chess. And it's the same thing. I think, a lot of time good baseball analysts are former catchers. You might have a quarterback, again, who has to process rapidly. So to me, I think there's a lot to that. Hockey, maybe a goaltender. Again, the plays are all in front of you, and you have to be able to evaluate things rapidly. So, but that's my job is to tell you why it happened, how it happened, frame it, give you a gem, be concise, give you a teaching point, And I'm also grateful for the fact that I broke in radio, and I had a great teacher in Chuck Swirsky to work with. Um, so I think if you watch me on television, I'm not verbose. I'm not long-winded. I'm pretty tight. And, I really try to play off of Matt and listen to Matt and tag his story. And I hope and pray that I do a good enough job to set him up and so that he can tag me. And we listen to each other, not only hear each other, but listen to each other and build off of each other and create a partnership on the air where people are entertained. And it was funny. Yesterday I was at the Blue Jays game, and after the game I ran into Buck Martinez, and I have such respect for Buck. I mean, Buck's 76 years old, still doing 100 games a year, which is amazing to me. And but he's a former catcher, and he's a former manager. So his perspective to me when I watch Buck do a baseball game, I like his perspective because he's a teacher, and he's got a great knowledge of it, and he gives me insight, and also can entertain, and part of it is entertainment too.
Yeah, you talked about some really animated folks there, like John Madden and Hubie Brooks and Scooter Rizzuto, and like guys who were a lot of fun to listen to and watch, and of course that would describe your personality as well. And you and Chuck together on radio, what a blast that was. Both of you are so animated, and you also talked about having a different style on TV versus radio. Well, you're dealing with the fact that we can see the pictures, so you probably have to say less anyway, right? And let the kind of pictures breathe and work for themselves, as opposed to having to fill in all the blanks like you do on radio. So it's a little bit different.
No doubt, Joe. And I've had great teachers too. Like I've had so many people that I've worked with that are incredible in the business I've been in. A John Shannon, a Paul Graham, a Nelson Millman, a Scott Moore, Mark Milliere, Sean Redmond, so many different people I've had the opportunity to work with over the years that have been sensational mentors and people that understand the sports business and the entertainment business and the TV and radio business that have helped me. And I think a big problem today is I don't think enough of our young broadcasters are being coached. I don't think enough of them are really being mentored and shown how to be the best of who they can be. And I think, and UB Brown taught me this. He said, the problem in our business is people just say, hey, great job, great job, great job. You're fired. You're fired. So his point to me was, you have to seek out coaching. You have to always have that intellectual curiosity about how can I continue to improve? How can I continue to grow? How can I be the best broadcaster each night I can be? And and you got to be fun. You got to. It's a long season, and you got to. My style. I'm a joyful person. I have fun. I like to have a good time. So greatest compliment I can receive, and it's funny. I spoke at an event last week in the University of Toronto, a conference, and one of the young people, the students, came up to me after and chatted with him before the event for a few minutes. And he came up to me after. He goes, I just want to compliment you. He said, you're the same guy on TV that you are in person. He goes, and to me, that's really important. And I pride myself on that. I try to be, I'm Joe Bag of Donuts. If someone comes up to me in a bar, on a street corner, wherever, I'm going to stop and talk to them, and I think that's important. We're an ambassador for our sport. We're an ambassador. I'm an ambassador for basketball. I'm an ambassador for the Raptors. It's the old line. Hey, what time's the game? Hey, what time can you get here? When someone comes up to me, I thank them for coming up to me. Because we're doing this because of them, the fan. And if they don't have an interest, if they don't have that fire in their belly and that love of the sport, then we don't have jobs. So we're so lucky, and I'm so appreciative to the people that follow the Raptors and follow basketball.
Well, your enthusiasm is legit and real. You can see it in the people you work with and the fun you guys have. Let's talk about the fun you have on the broadcast with Kayla, Kia Nurse, Leo Routens, Matt Devlin. Here's Kia. Here's Kayla and Kia doing their thing, and Jack. And this is a guy who's not afraid to be himself under any circumstances. How important is this in the group you work with?
Well, I think it's big. I think we have a great crew on TSN. I have my colleagues are absolutely amazing, and they're wonderful people, and they're friends. And you can see that shines through, that we genuinely enjoy each other's company. Like, we bust each other's chops and have a good time together. And that's big. That's called chemistry, right? And I feel like we have a winning team, and not take yourself too seriously. The great Lou Carnesecca, Hall of Famer from St. John's, used to say, "Peacock today, feather duster tomorrow." Right? Be humble. Never take yourself too seriously, and just stay humble, stay grounded. And to me, I think that's been a great thing in my career, in my life, is the fact that I've always tried to be that way. And my job's to inform and entertain. And I'm not solving world problems. I'm not smart enough to do that. I'm not finding a cure for a disease. I'm not at that intellectual level. I'm just a basketball guy. I want people to have fun. I want people to have joy and have a good time. That's why they're going to the game. They don't want it. They want to get away from world events. They want to get away from all that. They want to have fun. So they want to enjoy. So we're an escape. So to me, I want people to have a smile on their face. I want someone to have enjoyment from it. So, so I hope I'm doing my part. I always say I'm a caraway seed in the bakery of life. So you're just doing your best to entertain people and have fun and enjoy every bit of it.
And add a little flavor like a caraway seed. Okay, so here's some of your work on NBA Canada. You're going to get some style assistance here. Let's roll that.
Where did this show go?
Oh, boy. You're looking smooth, though, Jack.
So anyway,
that
it's been a long
makes a
time,
difference.
2007. And this is what happened. Look here we are right here. And then all of a sudden, Jonas, hey, Jack, come on, man. You got to open this up. It's the Christmas time. It's the holiday season.
Just styling you up. Just styling you up.
Changed everything, but lots of fun, right?
Oh yeah, and to me, I think it's a way for people to connect to the team too. Look, I think we've been overwhelmed and overrun by analytics, and statistics and analytics definitely plays a part in our ability to tell the story. I'm a storyteller, not a stat teller. So I'm at my best when I'm telling stories and more of the human angle. As I mentioned way earlier, we're in the people business. And so to me, I think my style is more that way. I mean, you'll have other analysts and other broadcasters that are more stat driven, which is fine. That's not my style. My style is more, I use stats, and I try to use them in a way that help back up my story as an additional item, not the item. So, but it's all part of that. And again, it's show business, and it's having fun, and it's entertainment. And to me, as I mentioned, I think the 6 analysts that I mentioned that kind of have shaped me a little bit, overwhelmingly did a good job with that.
Let's talk a little bit about your singing career. Jack Armstrong's Holiday Sing Along. Here's a clip from a couple of years ago. Let's. Nick.
Wow, and never in a million years.
So there you go, Holiday Sing Along. Tell us about that endeavor.
Well, we did a Christmas album, and still to this day, all the proceeds go to the MLSE Foundation and Special Olympics Canada, and I'm very proud of that. And those will go in perpetuity. So anyone who buys the album, which is out in record stores in vinyl, or you can get it, obviously, on all the different apps that you have, Spotify or whatever. And so I just did it. I've always loved to sing, and I love Christmas. I love the holiday season. So we did it. And they said, hey, we're going to do a concert at the Danforth Music Hall, which is obviously an historic venue in Toronto, and they've had some of the biggest acts ever there. So it was pretty cool. And a fun night, and a great way again to raise money for two beautiful charities. So I'm so glad I did it. And every year on the air during the holiday season, I built out a few Christmas tunes, and that's where it came from. The folks that had this crazy idea about me doing a Christmas album, they're big Raptor fans, and they own their own record company and comedy company and all that. And they were the nutty ones with the idea for this. And it all worked out, and it was for a good cause. So I had a lot of fun.
Danforth Music Hall, home to all the great acts of all time, including Jack Armstrong. Let's talk about some of the changes you witnessed, and some of it, a couple of key moments. First of all, the arrival of Vince Carter. What were the expectations of Air Canada, and what were ultimately the effects?
Well, Vince Carter had an incredible impact on the growth of basketball in Canada, and traveling with him, particularly after he won the dunk contest, it was literally like traveling with the Beatles or Elvis, or I'm sure what happens now with today's incredible performers. It's just nutty, just the excitement. And he put basketball on the map in Canada. Now, unfortunately, it didn't end well, but nonetheless, personally, I like Vince a lot, and he's had a great career. And I was so thrilled that he was inducted in the Hall of Fame, and so thrilled that the Raptors retired his number and all that. And now he's back on doing some games for the Raptors. So he had an amazing impact on the growth of the sport, and really got kids captivated. And therefore, the kids were like, hey, Ma, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, Uncle so-and-so, Aunt so-and-so, I want to go see the Raptors, this guy, Vince Carter. So it really got things going at a time where, we weren't sure what the future of basketball was in Canada, but he solidified it.
Vinsanity was something else. So, there's probably no chance that Canadian basketball would be where it is today without the influence of Vince, is there?
Oh, absolutely. It probably would get there, but it wouldn't be there as soon as it was. And honestly, it would have gotten there even sooner if Tracy McGrady hadn't left and Vince and Tracy stayed together for 8-10 years. In my opinion, the Raptors' growth would have been that much quicker. Because those two guys would have been incredibly special together. And they would have been in the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals, and maybe could have won a title even before 2019. So to me, Vince really did an amazing job of getting things established. And it's interesting, he's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. I don't understand why he's not in the Canadian Basketball Hall of Fame. It makes no sense to me. He's not in the Canadian Basketball Hall of Fame that I know of. I'm sure there's some area of it that maybe they have a founders area or whatever. I don't know, but in my opinion, he should be in the Canadian Basketball Hall of Fame because all these young people that are playing now, particularly the ones that are currently in the NBA, a lot of them are influenced by Vince, and we've seen Canadian basketball absolutely boom. And so I hope at some point down the line he's in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame and he's got his number retired in Toronto. I'd like to see him in the Canadian Basketball Hall of Fame as well because I think it would be a deserving honor for Vince.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous oversight. I can't believe that, honestly.
Well, honestly, I don't even think it's an oversight. I don't think it's. I don't know if anyone's even thought of it. I don't know. I've never brought it up to anybody. You brought up this topic, and honestly, I just said it. So I don't think there's any ill will or anything like that. I just think it's one of those things where probably no one's ever spoken about it before, and but I'm putting it out there now because on behalf of Vince, because I think it would be a deserving honor from Vince.
Yeah, if there's one person who's changed this game more than anybody else as an individual in this country in terms of basketball, it's Vince Carter.
Yeah,
right. He's number one.
No doubt.
So, yeah. So that's an oversight. What prompted the phrase "Get that garbage out of here"?
Well, growing up in New York, when someone blocked a shot, they used to say, "Get that blank and blank out of here." Yeah. Obviously, this is a family show, so I can't say blank and blank on TV. So we were doing a game, I don't know, many, many years ago, and I think it was Keon Clark blocked a shot, and I went ballistic on the air. And garbage just came out. And Troy Clara, who's now the director for Toronto Blue Jays games, Troy was our director at the time on the Raptor games, and he says, "Jackie, that's pure gold. Use it." So that's where it came from. Troy basically encouraged me. He said, I like that. He goes, "That's fun. When a guy blocks a shot, use that." And it just took off from there, so. Yep, and then hello comes from just growing up again in New York. A pretty girl walks by, and you go, "Hello." You're very impressed. So it's the same thing when I see a great play. I give a little hello. So and then bonjour, and then obviously bonjour. Canada has Quebec, multicultural, and we have Chris Boucher on our team. We've had a few guys from Quebec, so. We got to throw a little bonjour in there as well. So that's where it comes from.
What's it like having Drake as an honorary Raptor? And probably another situation that rose about as a result of Vince, right?
Well, I love Drake. I've gotten along great with him over the years. That's a picture of he and I when he first started out. That's when he was first kind of becoming a big name guy. That was a long time ago, that picture. And he's always been a lot of fun. He's always had fun with us when he's come on the air. Yeah, I thought it was an unfortunate night when Vince's number was retired and he kind of gotten into a little bit of a dust-up about Kendrick Lamar and DeMar DeRozan and all that. And honestly, when we had him on, I didn't understand what the beef was all about. And to this day, I don't really understand what the beef is all about. Why can't we all get along, And you know what? So now people are saying, I don't want Drake at the games anymore. I don't want him as the ambassador. And I'm like, come on, lighten up. Everybody has a bad day. That's why they have mulligans on the golf course. That's why they have erasers on pencils. Drake's impact for Toronto and the Raptors and basketball has been amazing. And I've seen it firsthand where you have every visiting team, every player on the other team, every one of them comes over and says hello to him. There's impact there. Just like Spike Lee in New York or Jack Nicholson in LA with the Lakers. There's something to that. So, yeah, everyone has a tough day now and then. And so to me, I love Drake, and I look forward to seeing him back at the Raptor games when he's in town.
So the Raptors finally break through in 2019 after all those previous disappointments. This is what your cohort, Leo Rautins, had to say when we asked him what it was like for him.
Sneaking
with
into
the
gyms
Raptors.
and hoping to play basketball to having an NBA team and everything being crazy like this. So it was incredible. It was incredible. And then the parade was, it was Canada. It was, Canada's, we talk about it off the top, they open their doors to people. We are multicultural, multi-ethnic, unbelievable country. And when you looked at the parade, that was it, man. Everybody, it was a sea of humanity, every color, every race, everything. And it was beautiful. So the whole thing was just something, I'll never forget. And to be a part of that, it was amazing.
Were you, or would you echo Leo's sentiments in what you saw, and what would you add to that?
I don't know how much more I could say. I thought he nailed it. I think he nailed it. I mean, it was a remarkable event and a great celebration of Canada, a great celebration of the Raptors. And, let's face it, the Raptors are a unique team in the NBA, unlike the other 29. We're the only team in the league. Every game's on national television. We're a national team. We're Canada's team. Again, like being at the Toronto Blue Jays game yesterday, that's the only baseball team in Canada, and so it's a celebration for people from all over Canada. So to me, it was just remarkable. And again, it's such a unique franchise and a unique job. And again, my 29 colleagues in the NBA that do what I do as an analyst, they're calling for a region. I'm calling for a country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Couple quick questions about this year's edition of the Raptors. First of all, can we say this is officially a tank job? I mean, with the Raptors, is this an official tank job?
Well, I wouldn't say. There's 6 games left in a season, and there's 7. So, I mean, if it was a true tank job, they'd be even worse. It's kind of a semi. To me, I think the schedule late in the year was so bad that even if you wanted to lose, it was going to be hard to lose because you were going to be easily better than most teams you played against. I think they're going to be in a position going into next year. I'd rather focus more on next year. They're eliminated already from the playoffs. In my opinion, they have a chance next year to be very good. I think they're going to have they're going to have a good draft pick. And they're going to have a Brandon Ingram who's basically with the franchise who's sitting out right now. So to me, I think you're going to see a team that's significantly better next year. So I fully expect this team to be a winning team next year. And I fully expect this team next year to be a playoff team. So and be one of the most improved teams in the NBA.
Well, they were close. I mean, I think that if they weren't trying to get a draft pick, they would have been much closer. But you got the pieces. We just saw a picture there: Brandon Ingram and Scottie Barnes and RJ and Quickly, Grady. Lots of good pieces that we've seen. Is there any particular draftable player that you would like to see on this team, or maybe a couple that?
Well. That's hard because I don't know where they're going to go in the lottery. I mean, that'll be May 12th. I mean, then we'll have a better idea of what they're picking. So I would say right now, if they're in the top 7 or the top 5, even the top 10, whatever, they're going to get a good pick. This is a good draft. Now, is that pick going to come in? Now, if they get Cooper Flag, he makes them better. If they get another player, it'll help them over the long haul. But is that player going to come in and start and score 20 points, this, that, the other thing? I'm not sure about that. But it's going to increase your talent level, and it's going to increase your depth and the quality of players that you have. So it's a good draft. And again, if you ask me after May 12th, I'd be able to easily zero in on 2 or 3 guys, whereas I don't know where they're picking right now, so it's hard. But they'll get a good player.
So, Jack, we're partnered with a group called Believe, Become, Be You. It's a mentorship program for kids from 10 to 17, inspired by the late Sean Gindy, led by Papa Jack. What's the message that you would have for any young kids that might be struggling right now to find their way?
Oh, I would say the most important thing is your attitude. 10% in life is what happens to you. 90% is how you choose to deal with it, and being resilient. And the thing I love about sports is, yeah, there's victory, but there's also defeat. And you know what we learn from defeat? You got to get back up. You're going to get knocked down, and you got to get back up. And you're going to get knocked down, and you're going to get back up. And when you fail, you have to ask yourself, why did I fail? How do I learn from it? How do I grow? How do I get better? And I don't repeat the same mistake twice. But to me, I think that ultimately is what it's all about, is having the right attitude and being resilient, that nothing's stopping me. Nothing's stopping me. That, onward and upward. And I think that's the great lesson of sports.
And something else happens to you too when you get back up, doesn't it?
It sure does. Something better is going to happen. Or you know what? Something worse might happen, but you're still going to get back up. And again, I think that to me is central to the beauty of sport. That, you learn that that's the game of life. And the only way you lose in the game of life is if you beat yourself. And you beat yourself by having a bad attitude. You beat yourself by not getting back up, by woe is me. I'm getting screwed over here, and it's not fair, and all that stuff, making excuses. No, look in the mirror and say, look, nobody, if I don't get myself up, nobody else is, I got to do it. And so to me, I think it's about attitude and resiliency.
Jack, I want to thank you for taking this time to join us. I know you got some work to do today to get to, and I appreciate that. Enjoy the off season, and hopefully we can celebrate another Raptors championship in the very near future.
Thanks, Joe. Have a great day. All the best. Pleasure to be on with you.
All right, thanks, buddy. Okay, when we come back, Larry Robinson hit Gary Dornhofer so hard it actually broke the boards at Montreal Forum. Yeah, thank you, Jack. If you're still there, appreciate that. In 1992, the best locally owned restoration companies came together with one goal: to make disaster recovery better for Canadians. And to this day, DKI remains one of the only 100% Canadian-owned disaster restoration groups in the market. Fire, flood, or storm damage. When things go wrong, the right help makes all the difference. With the right tools and local expertise, we handle everything from emergency response to full-scale restoration, getting homes and businesses back on track the right way. Because a home is more than four walls, a business is more than a building, and recovery is about more than repairs. When you choose DKI, you're choosing a company that's put Canada first since 1992. Locally owned, nationally backed, Canadian through and through. Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center, saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Maybe the biggest body check in NHL history. Let's have a look at that one, Vic. Now this one here that broke the boards. They actually had to physically come out and repair the boards. You can see the crack in it right there. Tell us about that,
Yes.
Ed. And was that your best?
Well, it's funny because I remember the hit, and it kind of set up perfectly where Dorney was coming down, of course, with his head down, and he wasn't expecting me to come across. And so when I made the hit, it was just right after where the penalty box is. And there's a 2x4 that goes across that holds the boards. And I don't know, maybe it was cracked a little bit, but when I saw the hit in later years, I went, holy mackerel. And you have to know the way the boards in the forum are. I mean, they don't give. And those boards actually bent and came back. So I think it was a lot harder than I thought I hit him. But I saw Dorney in years after, and I don't know how the conversation come up, but he goes, yeah, he says, I wanted to get up right away and not show that you hit me that hard. And he goes, that night I said, I went to the bathroom and I was spitting up blood. So I says, I think it hit me a little bit harder than I thought. So I said, well, these are years after, Dorney. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. And then we laughed and let it go. So.
Yeah, and he wouldn't have told you that at the time either. He would have said, no. I was fine. You didn't hurt me at all.
Yeah.
Discover the secret to timeless vitality at Renew Medical Center in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Our specialists unravel the science of aging, tailoring plans to defy its effects. Experience cutting-edge regenerative therapies such as stem cells and exosomes, addressing aging at its core.
It's a wonderful spot, and I highly recommend it for whatever you may need, whether you just want to feel better, you want to look better, have basically a quality of life, just to ramp it up a little bit as we age.
Liberate yourself from aging-related concerns, where accountability, technology, and passion for regenerative medicine converge. Begin your path to peak health and wellness with us. Schedule your appointment today at renewpv.com and elevate your quality of life.
Parents, what's the biggest fear for kids 10 to 14? A future they think they can't handle. At Believe, Become, Be You, we know confidence in the future is a habit we can build. Our course doesn't just prepare kids for the future, it seeds them with skills they will use now. For a limited time, the I Believe in Me Foundation is offering the first 1,000 kids and their parents 1 year free access. This priceless opportunity will save you over $2,000. This isn't just a course. It's a journey in developing life-enhancing skills that will grow with your child, fostering gritty minds, creative futures, and better bonds. Get signed up now at BelieveBecomeBeYou.com. That's BelieveBecomeBeYou.com.
And we want to thank all the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great people. We highly recommend them all. Thank you for your support of Canadian sports. A reminder that the show is available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, wherever you get your podcast from. Also, check out the show on YouTube. All of our past shows are on there. Clips, shorts, like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Our socials are at Joe Swiss Tilley on Instagram and Threads. Also, Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks once again to Jack Armstrong for being on the program. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more. Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in their early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. Let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. Hi, I'm Joe Tilley, and I want to tell you about the painting pros. Patrick and his crew recently came into my home, and they painted the walls, they added some color. It's fantastic, and I can't be more satisfied with the work they did. That crew is tremendous. They were professional, they were courteous, they were respectful, and they did a fantastic job. Look at that. Look at that color. I just can't stress enough how satisfied we truly are with Patrick and his crew. For all your painting needs, go with the pros. Joe Tilley here. My wife Penny Claire and I recently took an amazing trip to Egypt and Jordan with Trip Oppo. And here are our top 10 must-dos. Another must-do experience is a luxurious cruise down the Nile River. The ship was elegantly furnished with premium facilities, including a spacious lounge and a swimming pool. The cabins were comfortable, well-appointed, offering panoramic views of the Nile River and the surrounding landscape. I would highly recommend that you book your next trip through Trip Oppo. Call them today. Rooted in 60 years of tradition, Sleepy Hollow is a private golf club with a friendly community of members just minutes from Toronto. With mature trees and rolling fairways, Sleepy Hollow provides a challenging and enjoyable experience for passionate golfers. Enjoy great golf, amazing dining, and a picturesque patio second to none. Visit sleepyhollowcountryclub.com.